main bounce around the field guy.
Woo!
Hey!
I'll
Save that one for later.
Make ambition great again. Let's take over this place. The shady place. Bad place. Ambition. Yellow. Everybody go orange.
Yeah!
You got
him!
I whiffed it.
Him.
I'm sorry.
You whiffed it.
Right,
now you have to do the recap.
Who wants to give me the recap?
Oh, we never did decide on that one, did we?
Oh,
we
no.
didn't.
Alright. I got you.
For Trump Sewigg again. Trump Sewigg is great. Oh no, go ahead, Kraig. You got it.
Previously, we had once again continued our long delegations on the individuals, starting with the merchants from the free cities, and unfortunately this one went a bit poorly as they attempted to do politics with us instead of just spouting information at each other, which of course inevitably brought us to fighting and argument about action and inaction and whether or not we should actively attempt to assist anyone. And long story short, we've decided on doing things.
Incredible.
At which point we then continued our delegation about what we should continue doing, which we then decided to continue doubting ourselves, I guess. We then moved on to speaking with the Brass Baron, or not the Brass Baron, sorry, the Barrow King and Carter. We were able to convince them that they should work together to secure Mytheria, but that through this, that there would be a time given to the Barrow King to speak to Mytheria for this assistance. And it was also Venethir who decided to give the Phoenix Feather, once we defeat the creature, to the Barrow King's child. And then finally, we told them both about the coming rise and potential danger of the Brass Baron as the Avatar of Orange. And now Carter may go and assist the Brass Baron, knowing such things, to secure Mornhow peacefully. And that's where we left off.
Yes. Alrighty. Here we go.
Inspiration into the pile.
We got a pile going over here.
Pile.
Alright, let's do this.
Just a bunch of rocks with no numbers on them. Sad.
Let's do. My music isn't working in Foundry.
Oh, I had that happen the other day.
Why is that?
I don't know what to say.
Oh, I saw the track.
I'm blue switching from how much inspiration I have that I cannot
That's
use.
right.
Is he blue shifting over here?
Right, let me try refreshing.
Damn, you're right. It was shift.
Hey,
I have to remember.
it just started.
Shift.
Music started. Weird.
It started after I left. Okay, cool.
It did.
Hey.
We will enjoy it without you. Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Man, I hope they're having a good time right now.
We're bopping.
I'm chill. I'm chilling. Leaning back in my chair.
Oh, a big stretch.
Big stretch.
Yeah, I get drank while he loads. I'll be back.
Okay, now my music's working.
Yay.
Lies and misinformation. What's happening?
I'm waiting on my refresh to finish.
Oh, no, like a big picture of, Knarh just popped up in my screen. It scared me.
Oh. The haunting.
It is
of
I!
Knarh. Woo!
Suddenly you get jump scared by Knarh.
The Knarh of Christmas past.
No one ever sees it coming.
Oh, woman.
Nah, oops.
Alright, let's do this. This is not the vibe that I want. I require additional vibe checks.
Oh, okay.
Checking.
There we go.
What are you checking the vibe with?
My vibe is a 5.
Okay. This is good.
Alright, Faustine Hightower attends to the Carnelian Circle's Stone Circle to discuss the coming events and strategies in which to deal with this shared threat. Members of the Carnelian Circle are present, except Marlowe, who is shitting somewhere.
Yes.
Alright, and one by one, the delegates begin to arrive. Okay. And one by one, as the delegates arrive, you can see that there is a certain look about each of them. Let's start things off with an initial. I'm sorry. Y'all just took me through.
Get it out.
Alright, we'll start things off with an initial insight check.
Yes. Why am I ginning? Ignore that one. Let me fix this.
What's in their insides? Tell me, boss.
Did I just roll as Marlowe? What in the world?
There you go. We'll
I rolled a 3.
delete this ginny
That's a
one.
5.
What organs are they missing?
This damn swing.
Woo!
Okay. As the delegates begin to take their seats, you can see that there is a certain veneer about them. It would seem that the Barrow King is just as reserved as before. He actually seems to be the only one that hasn't really changed much. You can see that Sir Ember Dane appears to be sleep-deprived, and you can see that there is ink upon his fingers, as if he has been in open correspondence for the last few days. William Solace has his face set to a steely resolve. He would be difficult to dissuade. John Carter looks with the same resolve that you've seen him before, but you will see an honest trepidation about what is to happen next. Faustine Hightower looks to be a shark circling a kill, ready to make her way to the top of this particular interaction. And finally, the Brass Baron gazes outward, his face looking ever forward. A slight smile dances upon his lips. So, as the delegates are all seated, Faustine Hightower will raise up her hand and begin. Venerable lords and ladies, kings, delegates, warriors, and poets, I have been designated by our hosts in order to, shall we say, lead this affair. This meeting shall be to decide the course, and indeed, the future of our shared home. Therefore, I believe it is impertinent that we begin by prioritizing the threats thus presented. She will continue. Switch to trying to choose something that won't get muted. Give me a second.
Rock on.
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
I
Made of plastic.
My bad, I thought I was muted. My fault.
Whoa, dude. I'm sorry, my brain shut down after hearing that.
We love Sewigg.
Now do it as Trump.
Everybody else is sitting at the table like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? And inside of Swegg's head. God.
Yeah.
Little do they know I know what's going on in their heads. They don't know what's going on in mine. Got
Okay.
some swirl.
Unreadable.
And so, she begins. I believe that as the information has been presented, our problem can be disseminated into two different major issues. The first is the continuance of this so-called experiment by this wizard Tyr. Our hopes in this regard is to see that these experiments are diluted and dissolved. The second is to the unhealthy sickness that costs our very ley lines, which, after studying for some time in the archives of the Stone Sanctuary, it has been determined that we must solve both if Corvinus is to survive what is to come. It is also determined that the third priority, and perhaps the most pressing after the first two, is dealing with this Agamemnon individual. After studying carefully, it would seem that the first two are of the highest priority. Agamemnon is an entity that threatens us all, yes, but he does so with demons, an enemy that we have dealt with many times in the past. But the other two is a new threat, or perhaps a very old threat, one that we know very little about, despite the efforts of the archives. I therefore propose that our first order of business is deciding which of these particular problems we will cater to first. My proposal is we discuss these delegate responsibility to the various laboratories that contain the influence of this mad wizard. Once each has been allocated to a specific individual, we can then discuss shared resources and how to complete these objectives. She will then place down on the table a dossier with several pieces of parchment, where everything she is about to say is well documented, written, and cataloged.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Okay. As they are presented, she begins to go over them. It would seem, out of these 5 laboratories, these 5 individualistic pieces of the great experiment that this wizard was trying to run, it appears that there is one at the First Prayer Cathedral, or at least nearby thereof. There is another within the Silver Stones, another within the Wayward Tower, another within the Ice Under, and then finally, one within the Demon Wastes itself, at a place known as Zyracost. I have studied the archives not only of the Carnelian Circle, and indeed of Saphira's Access. I have also utilized the efforts of dear Laza. The Elephant Man will give a nod. And I have uncovered the following facts. At least, closest one could get to, I suppose. It would seem that Zyracost was once an ancient dwarven city, much like this one of Moaz Kadan, lost to time and its purpose unknown. The exploration of such a city will take quite the concentration of manpower, as well as a perhaps softer approach. The next is the Ice Under, and yet another place of dwarvish influence. Some say, it would seem, that the Ice Under was the first dwarven city, although I have seen some counter-arguments to this claim. In either case, an incredible amount of mana seems to be emanating from there. Therefore, one can only stipulate that there must be a reason. These reserves, whatever they are, it is best that someone goes there and is able to secure this place to ensure that interlopers do not use it for nefarious purposes, or, if there is a problem with its storage, to ensure that it does not poison or otherwise affect our continent. The third one is difficult. The Wayward Tower has long since been a landmark of some renown in the Razor Cliffs. It is believed that such a place, the epicenter of the undeath threat that the Razor Cliffs is at a constant vigil of, to be difficult to interfere with in any way. It will need specialists in order to pierce the veil of this darkness, those with a tenacious will to see it done. The fourth we perhaps know the least about.
Would have raised my hand about the Wayward Tower.
Go ahead.
A piece about the Wayward Tower. I'm not sure if you read about it, but we believe much of its necrotic power is being pumped into the ley lines themselves and being spread. If this is true, and to be dealt with, the assistance of druids might find this an easier approach, as they might be able to cleanse the ley lines as they walk forward. Arduous task, yes.
Very well. I shall amend to your advice. She will continue. The fourth, perhaps the least known about, are the Silver Stones, a long since curious landmark of the eastern south. And yet, upon this silver coast, it is also believed that these stones held great significance. Many have gone there to promote worship, and some even say that they have seen mysterious beings shifting between the trees surrounding the Emberwood. In either case, the revelation that this is in fact a place of experimentation has left a most unsettling feeling over the rest of us. Someone will need to investigate it. Someone close by, perhaps, who knows the East well. And the fifth, as I said, then the first prayer, deep within Metherian territory. Whatever this light is that is referenced, this crucible, we are unaware as to whether or not it has been activated or even what that would mean. There has certainly been a... She will kind of tap her chin a little bit. An excess of evidence that something is terribly wrong in Mytheria's lands. Their civil war, the aberrations, perhaps they are connected. In either case, we will need to find someone that can move through unmolested or arrive there in a way that the Mytherians will not slow them. And then she will kind of lean back. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our challenges lie before us. She will then look around. Shall we decide of which of these would be the most likely concourse to be taken? Alright. And slowly, as she looks around the table, you will see several thoughtful faces ponder and review the information. Okay. The first to speak be Sir Ember Dane. If it pleases the council, I have received instructions from our thanes. Therefore, the small contingent of forces that Demon's Deep is able to offer would like to have their focus upon either the dwarvish city of Zyrokost or the Ice Under, of which our first city is rumored to have existed. Either are important to our cause and to the conservation of the histories of our people. The Barrow King will nod. I second his offer. I could see no better place than to place dwarvish traditions in the hands of themselves. When the Barrow King finishes speaking, the Brass Baron will speak. And yet, I cannot help but feel, my dear man, that perhaps such an attempt would be, well, it would be foolhardy. Ember Dane will then raise an eyebrow and say, And what exactly makes you think that it would be foolhardy? Well, it is as you say, the contingent of forces that you offer are quite small. Meager. The Ice Under is quite big. Zyrokost, according to what the records say, mayhap even bigger than that. Therefore, one cannot help but elucidate from such information that one will have to expend quite a large force. And with the exception of perhaps our dear Lady Hightower and His Majesty, King of Barrows, I do not see anyone else at this council's table with the capacity to provide such overwhelming support. Therefore, my proposal is very simple. If Captain Carter keeps to his word, or rather I should say, promises me that he is to aid with the possible diplomatic ending to Mournhound's current war, I will be able to provide such presents. Sir Ember Dane will then shake his head. And to accomplish what exactly? You know not where to look. You know not how we design our streets. It would take your men weeks, perhaps months, to find where this Tyr has hidden his laboratories. I could get lucky, the Brass Baron says. Emerdane will shake his head. Yes, and luck works both ways, human. Good and bad. I would prefer if we focused on something more reliable. Insight checks, everyone. You will see that there is a flash of light within the Brass Baron's eyes as he will smile as Emerdane finishes, and then he will say, "You're quite right. Only truly competent individuals should be sent into Zyrocost. Which is why I do not propose to send my armies there. Nay, you will need most likely the strength of my legions to serve you against these demons, should they make their move. Numbers are far more prevalent there. Therefore, my proposal is different. It is not my armies that I shall send, but a small force that has proven themselves capable of performing tasks that are normally meant for armies in a quick and efficient manner. My shadows. Emerdane will kind of ruffle his eyebrows and place his hand upon his beard and stroke it softly. You're telling me that these individuals are worth your army's presence? Did you or did you not just say, human, that it's much better for a sizable force to move into the city? Demon's Deep may not have provided a lot of troops comparatively, but certainly more than these shadows. The Brass Baron will continue. The Brass Shadows are a small battalion, some 120 men strong, but more importantly, they have amongst them exceptional individuals. And to prove their competency, he will then reach into his satchel that he has brought with him, and he will pull out a crown of frost and place it onto the table. All right. Those of you that possess history trained may roll it now. I believe you're from the Endless White Chrome.
Correct.
You may roll anyway.
Yay.
I think he was the only one trained unless Marlowe's back.
Chrome, you will recognize this crown as to be the crown of the inheritors of the king's bloodline. The frozen crown of Mornhell. Long sought to be lost and buried with the fathers of old. How in the hell does the Brass Baron have it? And the Brass Baron will continue. As you can see, they were competent enough to scour the Endless White and discover the location, retrieve from quite the perilous action of surviving not only the Lost Legion, but defeating an ancient trial in order to reclaim it. They brought it back to me that I might have rightful declaration to the Mornhal throne and rule the people in peace. But I believe it is sufficient evidence to demonstrate the efficacy and competence of my Brass Shadows. I believe they are the perfect instrument in which to strike at this tier. To send them into the depths of Zyrocost, whatever it may truly end up being, I think is something that they are most capable of doing. Right, I'm going to roll the Brass Baron's persuasion check.
I'm gonna be looking at Carter when he's showing up the crown as well. How's Carter look?
Carter has pogged. His mouth is a perfect circle right now, looking at the fucking crown.
That's my ground. Where would you find that?
You will see the Brass Baron attempts to persuade Sir Ember Dane. Shall respond with his insight check.
No.
Sir Ember Dane will sort of continue stroking his beard. I suppose if they're confident enough in order to, well, reclaim something of the ancient past of the Endless White, perhaps they are experienced in finding that which has been lost to time. But I'm insistent that the Ice Under at least are handled by the dwarves. A trade, if you will. Brass Baron. The Brass Baron will stroke his chin in response, mulling it over, thinking very carefully, and then nodding. I graciously accept your counter-offer. Insight checks, everyone. Roman, Twilight, Mouse, and Sewigg, you get the feeling that that is precisely what the Brass Baron wanted all along. Okay.
Nods.
I got to get up and go to the bathroom. I'll give you guys a brief moment to above board strategize, because once we come back into it, no above board talk. So I'll be back.
Gotcha.
Bro, what the fuck is going on? I'm lost.
So
You wanted the Brass Baron Shadow to be.
No, I know what's going on right now, but what are we doing? What are we doing?
All right.
Do we want to clear the city, or do we just want to strike at the labyrinth? Because if we can strike at the labyrinth, I could just come up with some half-wit bullshit to tell them that we're gonna do it.
So we have two pieces to play here. Number one is that we basically own the Ice Under. We just have one boss left to go, and then it's ours.
But that's not how they're seeing it, and they don't know that.
Agreed. So we can either attempt to bring that forward to the table and depower the arguments made by the Brass Baron.
The problem is that if we do, then we have to reveal the gates. So, which is why.
Well, possibly to reveal the gates. We could just do the whole teehee secret, but I don't think we can keep doing.
We've traveled far.
I could just say something about the Fae and
found.
summon a Fae.
What would be that? What would be for that? Like, are we like, oh, hey, by the way, we have another ally we have access to, but you know.
I could be like, oh, the Fae have given us passage to the grove, from the grove to the Ice Under. We've been working on clearing out the city ourselves.
Yeah, that'll tell the Baron that we have access to fast travel, which is something that he would love to have.
Which we can.
Which we don't really want. If we don't want the Baron to take over everything, if that's what we're trying to avoid, we don't want to tell him anything that even remotely sounds like that.
I think it is okay to give the dwarf the Ice Under overall.
Yeah,
because we don't really
find it and see that it's mostly empty.
Well, we can basically speak to him afterwards, and we can speak to the druid, because we have to speak to the druid first, because we have to basically say, hey, we know about the Ice Unders, yada, yada, yada. Is it okay if we inform the dwarf about the portals so that we can basically give him the Ice Under?
Well, no, we've got the druid in our palm of our hands, not he under the face.
We got a promise with him tonight.
Mind you, if we give too many people fast travel, the Baron's gonna figure it out, because the
dwarf should know about it.
I want to ally with the dwarves.
Yeah, okay, the dwarves should know about the fast travel.
That's fine, but the thing is, if they start using fast travel and they start accomplishing things faster than expected, the Baron's going to know what's up, and then he's going to ask about it, and then
Well,
we're terrible at lying.
Then we have three factions to back us up against the Baron.
One of the things that's another part of it is we need to start allying people against the Baron
Yeah.
Why?
because he's fucking ambition made personified,
And this
breaking
is
the prism.
bad because it might break the prism, but that's a theory?
That is
Yeah,
a
just a theory. It's not actually real.
Assumptions.
Yeah, we don't even know that.
I say we ally with the
Yes,
dwarf
we do.
now.
We do it from the dragon.
We
Dragon
don't
did not
know that
say that
it'll-
it was him.
Yeah.
It's a pretty safe assumption.
I mean, I'll go rewatch, but it's
They
still an
did-
assumption.
Oh, we're
It
getting
is-
off topic. We're getting to talk
Yes.
about that now.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So I
I
say we
think-
bring the dwarf into the alliance we got with the elf and the Barrow King.
Yeah.
And
I
the
think-
rest, and the other two we just leave out. Because Carter's in on it too, so yeah, the other two we just leave out of it.
Yeah, I think we bring in the dwarf, basically say, hey, don't worry about Ice Under. We basically got it secured. Your people have full, we'll give your people full access. We just want to get in, deal with the tier lab, and then you guys can reclaim your city.
Yeah, so now we have a way to, now we have to find a way to make the fucking dwarf push the Ice Under.
Well, we already did. He basically gave
Just
up.
did.
Oh wait, he did?
He said
Yeah.
he'll take the Ice Under and the Baron will take Zaracost, which is what the Baron wants. Which is
Now the real issue with the Baron taking the Zaracost is the book. We need the book.
we don't know
We got
that
the book,
there.
no?
No.
We're assuming the demon book is in the demon waste.
Oh, okay.
Assume.
Yes,
There's a
and that
lot of
gives-
assuming.
I don't like assuming.
All right, the demon book being in the demon waste is a pretty safe assumption, all right?
It's poetic, but that doesn't mean that that's. I mean,
Why not send some? Then why not send
Sounds
somebody
too easy.
else to look for the book?
That is something we'll probably have to do, but we'll also have to talk to the Baron about getting people.
Have you talked to
And-
Carter about it?
Carter's not going that way.
Where's he going?
He's probably going to
Fuck, Mornhow. Yeah, you're right.
or
he's going to
Demon Waste try
Mornhow
and save Matheria.
and then probably going to Matheria, and then we'll probably have the other two Matherians go to
Hill City.
Pale City.
Another assumption here, but what's to say that Matheria isn't in the labyrinth, in the tier thing?
Yeah, there's no way to know.
Because the Phoenix is in the tier thing, and Matheria is equivalent, no?
We
Could very
could
well
ask
be.
Arcadum on the Matheria location, because I think we have that.
We have a generalized.
No, it's
You can break
generalized,
on a
not
map.
exact.
Exactly.
Well, we can ask if they're in the same location, or at least close to each other, enough to be considered the possibility of being in the same location.
Hmm.
Because the tier lab is in if I remember correctly.
I'm with you, Sewigg. I see what you're putting down.
Yeah, because the vault, the ley line, and the tier lab and the portal are all distant from each other. In the demon waste, at least.
Oh wait, there's also a vault there, but isn't the vault connected to the lab?
No,
Not
it's pretty far
necessarily,
down south.
actually.
It's pretty far south, so I don't think so.
Depends on how big the freaking city is.
It's a lot closer to the ley
Absolutely.
line and the demon waste than it is to the lab.
Okay.
So, Matheria is at the portal.
Matheria's
Yeah.
at the portal? Is
Or at
that where
least
the...
close to it.
That's what the hand is.
Yeah.
So is that far?
We don't know. We don't know the exact location of portal or Matheria.
Big map.
Which
Here, I'll share the image with you guys. I'm putting it in side chat. Right click,
Okay.
open it. So if you look in the demon waste,
So Matheria is under the hand, and this guy's going to the center.
which is the T, so you got a T in there?
Yeah. What's the X?
That's the ley line. The green X.
Okay. So Matheria is in the somewhere around the circle, right? Supposedly.
I thought Matheria was around the portal in that little.
Yeah, I also thought he was in the vault. She was like, In the portal, right here by the X, by the ley line.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about the vault.
I mean, in three other campaigns, it's been pointed that she's at the little Brock jelly donut right there by the skull.
Yes.
Okay, I'm back.
All right,
Hello.
sweet.
Cool.
Okay.
Alright, we pro dwarf here.
I think we're letting him proceed the way it is. Yes.
For the moment.
Yeah, let the door take the ice under.
Okay. With that, Faustine will then speak. Well then, it seems that it has been agreed then. The Brass Baron shall send his shadows into the supposed city of Zyrakost, to explore that particular tier threat. And Demon's Deep will offer its aid to the Ice Under. Very well. However, that does leave the Wayward Tower, the Silver Stones, and the Cathedral of First Light. You will then look around the table. Do I have any volunteers? Suggestions? As she looks around the table, the Barrow King will raise his hand slightly, and Faustine will nod graciously towards him. Your Majesty. I believe that it is only right that the Silver Stones be handled by my forces. They are closest, after all. I have already sent a contingent to investigate. I shall keep it secured and keep the Carnelian Circle informed. Unless someone here thinks that my soldiers are insufficient. The Barrow King will look at each of the gathered individuals, and he will make an intimidation check. He's so fucking cool.
We'll see. He's pretty cool.
It seems that no one is open to challenge him. The Brass Baron will sense the Barrow King's sort of exuberant presence and will smile. Interest growing across his face. Perhaps a worthy opponent. But the Brass Baron does not challenge him on the Silver Stones. For what the Barrow King has said, it seems to be true. He is closest. Faustine will nod. Very well, Your Majesty. We will leave the Silver Stones in your capable hands. Now, to the matter of the Wayward Tower. William Solace will raise his hand. Based upon the... Hold on, what was his voice? Gotta find his... Get it.
The Irish eyes is smiling.
Irish man.
Oh, Danny boy. There it is, okay. Wouldn't it be to the advice of the Carnelian Circle? I think it'd be the right, good crack of a time for us to attempt to lay ourselves into the Wayward Tower. A druid's touch, perhaps. It's also not so far away. Faustine will nod, and then we'll look around at different people at the table. And then she will state, I cannot help but question that perhaps it is not the best that we send your forces there, with all due respect, Representative Solace. You are druids of the West, and the Metherian presence, although it is more of the practitioner's motif, is heavily present within the Razor Cliffs. I cannot help but feel that your placement there may be deterred by the forces of your enemies. William Solace will react. Aye, but that'd be true of anywhere that you place us outside the West.
I will once
go ahead.
Raise a hand again.
If you got something to say, go ahead.
Carter, you were positioned within the city at one point, yes? Would you be able to give some kind of recommendation or anything else that would allow them to enter and pass through the city freely?
Carter will respond. Getting someone to pass freely is dependent upon how they present themselves. Unless William Solace's men decide to hide their Western heritage, perhaps they might be able to pass unseen. But I suspect that a majority of his people will be proud of their heritage. Druids, elves, things to attract attention. I suspect it will be difficult for them to move unseen and unmolested by my misguided brethren.
He'll hand the table back to them.
Ember Dane will then speak. Aye, but wouldn't it also not be the point of sending them so that they could be successful? Sending someone that can be undeterred, but not useful in dealing with the problem, is even more folly. The first, at least, despite its difficulty, has a chance of success. Lady Faustine will then speak. My proposal is quite different. I believe that a more subtle touch is needed. That pride should be put before the fall, as they say. My associate, the dear captain, as she gestures over her left shoulder, has even offered to expand his trade company up towards the north, the Razor Cliffs themselves being a place in which the SCTC has very little presence. If he could establish a port, and indeed a base of operations in which to scour the Wayward Tower's many hidden secrets, we may yet be able to find this laboratory and see it at the very least either dealt with or secured for more capable individuals to do so. William will then kind of shake his head. I'm not needing to act in the maggot or nothing, but to be right clear with you, I don't really trust that fellow. Those that honor themselves to gold and coin, well, they might find themselves dissuaded. I mean no offense, of course. The captain will then speak. None taken. All right.
I will
Go ahead.
speak up, and we do have a man inside that we had to use once. The name is by the Scarlet Finch. He was the underground boss man, apparently.
You know the Scarlet Finch?
Hold on, I gotta just take that.
If he's still alive.
I gotta take that in. You must be truly desperate to come back to me once more. You guys remember how much you hated him?
He was so cool, but also, yes.
God, that's so funny.
Rolls to hold my performance and not cringe.
Respect, man.
It's up and shared. It's appropriate.
It's so funny to me, dude.
He's memorable. It was good.
Pray him to the point where he's like, I'll find you and kill you if I ever see your face again.
Hey, Luke, how's it going?
Yo. I'm alive.
You're alive. That's good.
I'll find you and kill you if I ever see your face again. We should enlist that guy's help.
Yeah, hit up the homie.
Hit up the homie.
Hey, remember us? Remember how you wanted to kill us? We need a favor.
God,
you know that scene in Mulan where Mushu's up on the horse's back and he's like, "Hey, baby, we need a ride."
Hey, heifer! Hey, we need a ride. And she spits him off. Hey,
Excellent.
darling, baby. Hey, we need a ride. God, am I gonna have a Lilo and Stitch moment? He's like, Babaka, what? You want me to help you? Just like that? Just like that? Fine. It's
Fine.
easily fucking convinced. Oh, he is very persuasive. That's so good. All right, back in character. So, God, that's so good. What a fucking suggestion. It's all comes full circle. You know, sometimes shit I don't even see coming comes up, and I'm just like, that is hilarious. God, that's so funny.
I write everyone's name down.
That's I believe you. Okay. Well, I gotta back in character. All right. Oh, God, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Faustine will respond. I'm sorry, could you repeat that name again?
Scarlet Finch.
Scarlet Finch. I am unaware of this individual. Do you think he is a worthy ally?
Knarh twitches.
He is someone who's capable of getting someone inside and out. Well, Edgerton. He could probably use his expertise.
Yeah. Perhaps an easier way within the city might be through its leader. We have a bit of knowledge on the individual. I believe he may be easy to blackmail. The Duke.
Sorry.
I almost hear him.
I can almost hear him. I can almost hear.
Well, I do agree that Finch would be one way to get people in. I think going in through their leadership might be a bit more efficient. As for the blackmail, we believe him to be a undead of some sort. Probably brought back from a previous captor of his. Perhaps even a servant of hers. A man leading a city against the undead that is undead should be easy enough blackmail for any of you.
Lady Faustine will then look over towards William, and then she will say, "And you believe this Scarlet Finch can obscure the Druid's movements enough that they could operate within the Wayward Tower? Truly?"
He smuggled out criminals. He air quotes that without anyone knowing outside the city, so druids are another thing, but I assume that he can do the same.
Well then. She will then look over to William and will look back over her shoulder. Captain, I suppose if you have such a capable individual, then perhaps it is better to take a step forward of arcane competence. Or druidic, I suppose. Looks back over to William Solace. It would seem that the Wayward Tower is yours. If you deem you and your compatriots capable of the use of this Scarlet Finch person, perhaps we may yet have you undeterred. You will see that she leans back, having been convinced otherwise of her original plan.
Nice.
Just taking some notes.
It always works.
Yeah.
Rock on Chrome.
We're bringing up the Scarlet Witch.
That's a great suggestion. I love it.
I mean, yeah. There you go.
I fucking hate that guy. We should use him.
We should use him.
We aren't interacting with them. The Druids are.
That's, hey, that's not my problem. That's,
Knarh's marks just flash slightly as she thinks about the Scarlet Witch. She goes, him.
Weren't you the one? Air quote. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Looks across the table, it gives this very long, deep sigh.
man, that's so funny to me. Like, it's... God.
He thinks he's a smuggler and a trafficker. He should be pretty good at moving people unbeknownst underground.
One of those moments when I'm glad I'm not Tellery. Absolutely not.
Back in the kitty seat with you. Come on now.
Yeah.
No.
Back in there.
Wait. Okay.
Good times.
And thus we find ourselves with the final particular problem. Go to the first light, where the final laboratory of Tyr can be found. I had thought that perhaps to send Captain Carter, but it seems that you are otherwise preoccupied. Yes, milady. After the stint to the north, if I am still to assist with the peaceful resolution in Mornhal, I am to head into the demon wastes to release Mytheria, in the hopes perhaps she may be restored.
Huh.
Leaving a moment open.
Mm-hmm.
The eyes are like kind of just searching everyone right now.
Okay, insight checks.
Thanks.
Wasn't expecting him to be honest, but you know what? He was asked.
Good.
Save us, Sewigg. God damn, you are on fire today.
He is.
25 for
He knows
each of
all.
those.
So
He's sniffing your brain.
everyone here at the table has varying levels of surprise at that statement. After so many kind of world viewpoint shattering revelations, this one kind of loses its, I suppose, potency. But in and of itself, it seems that everyone here is honestly curious as to whether or not Captain Carter could even do it. There is one that seems to be very, would I say interested? No, I would say almost sorrowful. And that is the orc behind William Solace, Mikael Grace.
We don't know that guy.
And then, after Carter's response, Faustine Hightower will nod and will say, well, someone will need to explore it, and if you are going to attempt to save Mytheria, he will say, not really believing that, then it would seem that that particular route falls to me then. The trade routes that we have established to the Three Kings have long since fallen into disarray, not only with the rampant banditry, but now with the chaos in the Pale City. Such an excursion would be difficult and expensive. But my mercenary groups are at my call. I am sure that they will do the Council's will. Yes, I believe so. Upon such a thing, I believe it best that I use my alliances to aid. Grandmother Iron will go and speak with the other leaders of the mercenary guilds. Get them over to our cause, perhaps. And the dear captain will, of course, assist with any trade and transportation. Logistics, as is his specialty. But even if we are all of us able to access these labyrinths, what guarantee do we have that we can even disable them? This question I have for the Carnelian Circle. Do you know precisely how they may be stopped? These experiments?
He looks to the rest of the group.
How I Knarh.
Yes,
As far as
also.
we can, no, let's speak up for a moment. As far as we can tell, each lab had a very different job. Something else that was researching another form of abomination, I should say, being crafted within its bowels. I imagine many of them have machinery that within them that might be able to interface with to stop them. Large machines that might be destroyed, or perhaps, like in some of the others we have discovered, have people driving them, operating them. And should the operator be removed, it should be dormant, or at least less operational. We don't believe there is a singular answer to stopping any of them, but we do believe that that is the best route.
I see. Well, I suppose it's better than nothing.
It will take some exploration.
Any discoveries upon these labs should be brought here so that the rest may investigate them. Any knowledge that we obtain, you obtain, can then be shared, and then those translations or other forms of key symbols may be used for others when they venture forth.
Your words fall upon those present, and it seems that they have, for the most part, began to accept your synopsis. Sir Burdane will then speak up. If we're going to be going to places with such ancient magic, surely is there a methodology that we will use in order to categorize this particular, well, these findings, as you say? And indeed, what method will we use to contact one another? Many of the places discussed are across the continent from each other.
There might be a bit of discussion between you and your casters. We have personally been seeing to using a spell that allows one to send sentences amongst each other over great distances. Laza might be able to assist you with such things. For any greater amount of conversation, we will do our best to keep intact.
I see. So we'll be operating, more likely than not, autonomously.
For now.
Right. He'll nod. Go back to stroking his beard and pondering. The Barrow King will speak next. Well, it seems as if our... Sorry. It seems as if our resources are next to be discussed. Each has been given prevalence over a particular laboratory. But the threat of Agamemnon still lingers. Soldiers win wars. I have many, but I fear it is not enough. To spread my forces thin, defend the east, especially against a Metherian attack. has left me with few options. The contingent that I plan to send, Silver Stones, is more so the capacity I could even spare. How we allocate our strength? Whom shall we support? With that, Faustine will gesture over her shoulder as this man approaches.
Captain Artemis Felch, a pleasure, Council of the Carnelian Circle, Council of Kovanus. I would ask the dear King of the Barrows that His Majesty need not fret nor worry about such a thing. The SCTC shall be providing its logistics network for your use at a reasonable price. We shall see to assist you in your endeavors, to ensure that your movements are supported by the fastest known uses within our world.
Alright, as everybody kind of looks around, Captain Artemis Felch will use his persuasion check. Seems everyone at the table, with various levels of skepticism, slowly begin to be dissuaded by the SCTC. In fact, the navy of the SCTC is comparable to any of these heads of state, having access points to the various ports and piers of the realm, as well as river mastery, and the impressive logistical highway that the SCTC is capable of providing, are all compelling arguments in order to ensure that this information, once it's gathered, is able to be returned to the Carnelian Circle for dissemination and consumption. However, insight roll. You will sense that the following people have the expressions upon their face and the residual emotions. Sir Dane is indifferent to this. The Barrow King is indifferent to this. William Solace has a problem with this. John Carter is wary of this. Faustine is looking forward to this. And the Brass Baron, perhaps the first time in this particular interaction, you will see a small flash of anger across his face. But nothing else is really shown. However, cold, hard facts are difficult to argue with, and it seems that one by one, each of the delegates begin to acquiesce to the allowance of the SCTC to run the main logistical forward. A chance to interject if you want.
I abstain.
I abstain. I'm good with this.
So be it.
I will look at the William Solace and nod towards his direction.
You'll do what towards his direction?
I'll nod towards him.
Oh, nod. Okay. All right. That the SCTC Captain Felch will nod and say, "Consider it done."
I shall have to take your information and disseminate it amongst my employees. We shall get you to where you need to go.
He will take a step back. The Barrow King will then speak. Now that we have logistics handled, we are able to share our information and receive it. Next come perhaps the hardest part. Even if these labyrinths are easier to conquer than we think, there will no doubt be ramifications for those that were not summoned here, and indeed, perhaps even the strength of the demons. We should decide on where our forces shall consolidate. Are we going to make a core? Going to make a horde? Or shall our forces be separated into their individual units?
If I may, what are your thoughts on the pros and cons of each, as you have suggested them?
Individualistic units gives more freedom, able to react to the tactical situation. It will make it more difficult to receive updates upon the strategic approach. And even with the most disciplined of check-ins and rotation of schedule, no plan survives contact with the enemy. Faustine Hightower will then raise her hand. If I may be so bold, Your Majesty, I have a suggestion. Perhaps what is needed is someone who alleviates themselves of direct involvement with their particular environment and instead commences their time to the development and the update and the maintenance of such an endeavor. The Barrow King will raise an eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you speak of this for everyone? Or do you find me incapable of leading my own people? Faustina will raise her hand. That is not what I meant, dear Barrow King. Simply that we require someone of great martial intellect and acumen, skill, recognizable and respected, and I have no doubt that you would fit these qualities easily, with one exception. The Barrow King will frown slightly. You are undead, sir. There are many that will not follow the wills and whims of someone, well, like you, Your Majesty. You will see the insect kind of puff up at such an insult. The Barrow King's face is a mask of pure law, focus, and logic. Perhaps you're right. A general must be able to be followed. And whom would you suggest other than me? Faustine will nod. I am glad that you asked. She will gesture over her shoulder towards Grandmother Iron, who will step up. I mean no disrespect to His Majesty, but I am quite capable of leading any of these attacks, and indeed the very defenses of our positions. You needn't fear while the Iron Cross is involved, dearies. Okay, and with that, Faustine will attempt to persuade the delegates. The delegate seems somewhat swayed. Barrow King is not convinced that this old lady, as experienced she is, could match even a fraction of his battle acumen. But it seems that the line that Faustine has spread of that having an undead commander would be difficult for people to follow seems to be taking root in people's minds. However, there is a chance for the Carnelian Circle to become involved, especially since they, very relevant, have undead in their party. If anybody would like to say anything, now is the time. If not, I'll move on to the next.
And if he was to retake his true name, assert his house, this would not be disheartening to the people. I understand his new title might cause issues, but if they understand that they are fighting for a piece of history, a piece of this land that they've lost, perhaps if part of his name being brought up is part of the history returning, do you not think that this would not call people to his cause just as much as it would push away for the undead?
The Brass Baron will speak up. I believe the problem is not so much of his inheritance. Brass Baron will continue. I believe it is more so of the fact that fighting for a piece of history is a distinction that most common soldiers will not make. General must be seen to lead properly. And if they see that he is well, the Brass Baron will gesture towards the Barrow King in a very not super respectful manner. Might be a problem.
Knarh will raise her hand. I know I haven't talked much, but with all due respect, I'm from the Razor Cliffs. I used to fight mindless undead all the times. The Barrow King and the Princept Atreus are far from the monsters that I used to face. Actually, talking to them stifled my, what's the word? Prejudices? Prejudices that I used to have back when I first met them.
Okay, persuasion check Knarh with advantage.
How to persuade
Tens.
Okay. Your words will kind of wash over the delegates. It would seem that even Faustine seems a bit thoughtful to your words. The Barrow King will smile slightly, then will nod towards Knarh. Then, seizing upon the momentum of such a statement, the Barrow King will state, "There are many that will judge us at first, just as they do now. They will not understand what we are trying to do. After all, I could simply send someone either living or able to cover up their evident features to act as a mouthpiece. I'm not opposed to that." It would seem that Lady Faustine raises her hand and simply gestures. "You have convinced me. I think that perhaps His Majesty should lead us, militarily speaking. His countless lifetimes of experience exceed that even of the capable Grandmother Iron. Grandmother Iron, despite being not chosen, will simply give a gracious bow. Shows no markers of insult. I have a headache.
Knarh.
I'm going to go get some medicine. I'll give you guys a chance to talk above board for a second. I'll be right back.
I gives a slight bow and sits back down.
Okay. I'm back from going to the party. I'm assuming we're talking about who is to be the general or something.
No, it's been decided.
That's been decided, yeah.
Okay, that's what we just decided on. Okay.
Yeah, the Barrow King is going to be in charge of that, which sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Although at first I was very much in the camp of, no, he's spooky. But then Knarh said her thing, and I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. She's right. He's got all that experience, and we get off of.
I wanted to point out the huge character development moment for Knarh there. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah.
Big round of applause. Inspiration for Knarh. I'll be back and get some medicine.
Add it to the pile.
Add somebody in there. Pile.
Gotcha.
Just gonna put it in the middle here with the eye.
I'm glad that went how that went, because otherwise we would have given the free cities 2 major positions within the unified army.
Yeah.
Right. And this way we keep the Barrow King in charge, which loves us to death, and we like him too.
He's an undead. That's all that matters.
Is that all that matters?
Yeah.
I see.
Bros together.
Change my vote. No.
Bros together strong.
What else do we need to work on? We've got them hitting each of the places. We have a general.
We have trade roads.
I have a problem. Well, the SCTC has that slightly covered. I have a problem with that as well.
The SCTC?
Yeah, the logistics. I think we can make our own logistics.
We could, but then we'd have to reveal our way of going about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm mainly towards the idea towards William. And
William?
I don't know, something about him rubbed me a little bit off. It just.
I'm pretty sure that the SCTC and the Druids do not get along, but
well, the SCTC is experienced in logistics. That's the thing they do. If we're not going to use them for that, then what do we have them for?
Well, we can make we can make that our main, but like for dire need, we can use our portals.
I like it for one thing, and one thing specifically is that it's pulling power from the Brass Baron.
Mm-hmm. That too.
What I am afraid of is these guys just fucking misinforming.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, is to correct misinformation.
No. What if they do, like, okay, they have fucking, they're the information network. What if they don't inform us? Like, what if they take knowledge for themselves?
Oh, if they, like, misinform us, then we keep records of what they wrote specifically. And then later on, when we end up getting more information from other places, if their information is contradictory or clearly shown,
yeah, we'll catch them with their pants down eventually.
Yeah, but that'll take time, and we don't have time. We need present. We need now.
There's a trade-off in working with people.
Yeah, this is one of the issues of the fact that like we're the middleman instead of like the action man. Is that we have to do middleman work, aka decipher through all the shit that they hand us and figure out who's being truthful and who's being deceptive.
Yeah, I think it's working.
Yeah, that's basically what you're stating is a problem is our job. Obviously, we can try and like get them to be more honest, but that's all up to like how far we want to push the city. Because I'm all up for like going to Pandora, who's our high priest, and be like, "Hey, did you make any? You convert any priests recently?" You know, send a priest with each one of the leaders and be like, "Hey, you know, send him to the lab. He'll help out. Or send info back to us. You get to keep whatever's in the lab. Sound good?"
Actually, yeah, we could put moles in.
Well, as in like obvious moles, like this is a mole, and they will
Yeah,
help you.
like they're familiar with the knowledge.
Yeah.
I like that.
I
Sounds
wouldn't
like
say
extra.
keep everything. I would say at least give us knowledge of what's in it, and then we can...
That's what throwing the priest
Okay.
in is doing. Is we're like, hey, this is our priest. He's going to help you. He's a little twitchy. Don't look him directly in the eyes. But he's nice.
I want so bad to just trust people.
Don't look him directly in the eyes. It's fine.
He's also absorbed so much knowledge. He's mad now.
He's a little special, but don't worry about it. I think because I don't want to be too heavy-handed in what we're doing, because I think it's really important that we do continue to keep this idea of the mediator, not the actor.
Yeah,
Secret police.
I think we're doing good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's obviously a few things that we want to talk to the individuals, like
Yeah.
obviously the Ice Under, and pretty much it.
Yeah. The only issue with us developing a our own like caravans and stuff is that we just haven't invested in that part of our city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only thing we've invested on is city capacity. and
Also,
the
it would
tree.
be slow as hell.
Yeah, because we haven't done any money making ventures yet. All we've done is self-sustained features.
Yeah.
Like food, living space, heating, all this stuff. We made it a great place to live, but we didn't do anything else.
It's a
Yep.
vacation.
We have no water capabilities. We have no air capabilities.
Yeah, we still got to fix a lot of the city. A lot of the city's still broken.
Kamek.
All right.
Yo. Right. We're pretty happy where we're at.
Yeah, it's pretty good so far.
All right. Okay, so as the Cornelian Circle does not directly seem to interfere, it would seem that the Barrow King has been chosen as the military leader of this grouping. I'll just do it some notes here.
Mm-hmm.
Is Marlowe back yet? I miss that guy. He brings the mood down.
We're too peppy. Too preppy. Someone bring
Make everybody miserable for me. Go ahead.
Jarvis, shave his balls.
Too late. I've already waxed them.
Okay.
My skin just crawled at the thought of that.
Brazilian style. Yeah, it's good.
On your balls?
And with
How do you
that-
do that?
Faustine Hightower will then continue. So then, we have the laboratories handled. We have decided who shall lead us against the forces of Agamemnon. What are we to do about these ley lines? The world is sick in its blood. Must be dealt with directly. Normally I would say that this falls upon the druids, but does anyone else perhaps have a better idea? My suggestion would be that we turn to foreign magics, those much like the ones used here. There are those that follow the green faith direct within Calcatesh. Some of them can be found within our foreigner districts. True, perhaps foreign magic will not work upon Corvanian maladies, but surely it is a place that we can start, and one that is without the quite weighty political discourse, he says politely, of the Western Rebellion. William Solace will then speak. Foreigner magic is the reason that we're in this mess in the first place. Therefore it be to me that we don't need to have no foreigner involved in this. After all, if what the information here is to show, our own culture is corrupted, our own history's falsified, I think it'd be better if we just dealt with it directly. I don't think we should have any foreigners involved, any more than we already have. The Barrow King will speak on this one. One of the reasons that the land is sick is because the circles are untended. My connection to the Fae to provide us proper wardens. Faustine will respond, are you suggesting that we use otherworldly creatures? Surely that is worse than someone who is foreigner. The Barrow King will respond, it will be much the same in either case. The enemies of this proposal would be those that would be our enemies anyway.
Ninotha will raise a hand. Speaking of the Fae he speak of, they are not so much otherworldly as the other side of the land we already live on. There are difficulties, things to speak of, but have you or your people gone over the dream or the information we have laid forward of it?
Sorry, say that again, Kraig?
Sorry, I was trying to speak up. To quench your fears of the Fae, they are natural creatures. Perhaps not of this world, but at the same time, its other side. They are natural, in a sense. A bit difficult to understand, but they are representations of nature, in a way.
Persuasion check, I think.
All right. Who, buddy? Nope.
Faustine will sort of shake her head. I fail to see, natural or not, how it does not pose the same problem as even a foreign presence would. The creatures, as she gives bombastic side-eye to some of the other creatures present or nearby, well, it's going to be far more conspicuous.
Twilight Mouse will raise her hand in response to that. I believe what we're doing will be conspicuous all the same. As it comes down to it, Corvanus, the way it is right now is due to foreign influence, to be sure. But at the same time, the Fae are part of it. They will be conspicuous, of course, but they are also part of it.
Persuasion check on that one.
It's just a 14. This is not very good.
I'm thinking, hold on.
Knarh fiddles with her one tattoo.
William Solace will speak. Even if we were to utilize the Fae, we'd not have the bindings that would hold them in place, and His Majesty can't be everywhere at once.
Sewigg will speak up. I have obtained a connection to a high-tier Fae. They too rule by a council, of which I can put in a, what would you call it, request to speak to them and see to their help. If you are all to come to an agreement that the Fae is something that is required upon Corvanas, I could see to it that they help us.
I'm gonna say your choice of intimidate or persuade.
What? Intimidate?
Mm-hmm.
You
I know
have
people in high
control
places.
over the powers.
And intimidate is not always negative. Intimidate in this regard is showing your strength. That's what it means. And that's what you just did. Your competence, your ability to convey the control over the Fae. That's a strength move. But you could also use persuasion because you kind of placed it as sort of a diplomatic role as well.
Doesn't matter, they're both -1. I'll do intimidate just for the
no.
funsies.
Okay?
Nice.
Yes!
You're within 5 feet. I'm just kidding. You don't.
Oh
need
yeah,
to.
Doesn't have
I
that
lost
anymore.
that feat. I took it away.
Man. That is unfortunate. Swegg's words, although he thinks they sounded great, seems to have done little to dissuade the council. Faustine will then kind of speak up in that regard. Once more, the difficulty is that if we involve a bunch of creatures from naturally occurring other worlds, they will be mistaken for demons and attacked. It will be an inefficient deterrent wherever we would employ them. Potent that they might be in restoring and healing the ley lines, if they are constantly being hunted, harassed, and killed, it will slow us even further. Not to mention the resources I dare say it takes to keep them upon this place. The Barrel King will nod. It is expensive. But my counterpoint would be the use of the Fae would not only incur that we have strong positioning at each of the grove sites, but upon their completion, the rapidity in which one can repair it's we'll see him kind of stop. He'll say, it is a wonderful thing. Okay. As those words kind of linger around, the Barrel King's insistence that the Fae are the better choice, it would seem that William is the one that speaks. The circles are the responsibility of the Western Rebellion. We were pushed back once, but no longer. Once the circles have been established, or at least a few more, if we find ourselves in a position to where we can actually use them, I'm not against from you having to, well, kind of check his words as he remembers who he's talking to. I believe it would be more acceptable, Your Majesty, to take on such creatures once we have established the appropriate anchors. The Barrel King will nod.
Knarh nods.
Logical. If slow and risky. It seems that those present are at a bit of a stalemate. Then the Barrow King will speak. I agree. The Western Rebellion. Solace is correct. The use of the Fae would be better utilized once more of the circles have been claimed. Okay. Unless the Carnelian Circle has anything they want to add.
Yeah, I think I support most of this. They're trying to
I
be
want to
reasonable
talk so
about
much shit.
it. Go ahead.
No,
you
I'm
have
not
the
gonna.
deal.
I'm not gonna. It's
You're-
stupid. It's so
You're strong.
stupid.
You're strong, Sewigg.
Be strong, Sewigg.
I'm not even looking at anyone. Fuck this guy. These guys don't know. They don't know shit.
Channel the orange swig. Do it. Release.
Knarh nods, understanding what it's like to have a familiar and people think it's a demon.
I mean, that's a power move right there. You could just
We could
summon a
we
fae.
can talk to these guys after this, right?
Yeah, you always can.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
as it
Then
kind of...
I will refrain.
Okay, so since the Carnelian Circle does not immediately interject, it seems that everyone nods, and Faustine will say, very well. We shall leave the restoration of the ley lines in your capable hands, William Solace. We will provide what aid and support we can, which brings me to the... If I might interject, the Brass Baron speaks. I do not mean this in any disrespectful manner at all, William Solace, but you have been defeated already. Your forces crushed by the Metharians, forced into hiding to the western mountains. I state this simply because it is fact. The Druids have proven themselves incapable of defending themselves from even a passable onslaught. Therefore, I propose that since the conquering of Mornhowl is nigh on the horizon, that once it is done, I shall provide a contingent of my men to the Western Rebellion in order to ensure the safety of the circles. Alright, go ahead and make insight checks, Carnelian Circle.
I want to side with him so badly, but he's a dickhead. But dude, this is my meds right here.
Okay. So those are sufficient. The Brass Baron's interjection and proposed military assistance to the Western Rebellion has made a few people alarmed. Most notably, the most alarmed at the table appears to be Rhoda. He'll look back and forth from the Brass Baron and towards the Western Rebellion, and will begin to whisper to the High Inquisitor, who will nod and shake his head. It seems they're having a private whisper conversation. And William will say, well, your offer be right tempting there, Brass Baron. I can't help but feel that you're in it for something. And I'm not looking to put my people in any more debt. The Brass Baron will nod. You are correct. I am in it for something. The conservation of this world. I am one of the people that live in it, and I would rather it not be sick once it has fallen under new management. I understand your trepidation. My men are not there to keep you prisoner. They are not there to serve as your attendees. They are there to serve as your protectors. They shall do as you ask of them.
Well, I understand it's somewhat easy to call upon the individual's history. I would also like to know what exactly it is you would intend to actually protect them. Is this as a small force of mercenary forces that would be following them, or will you send actual armies to assist them?
Most likely I'll be using the mercenaries, the ones whose contracts are up, that would want a new source of coin. And also, the fact of the matter is, he'll kind of just lean forward. They need something to do. I've had my men in reserve for quite some time. They need something to focus on. Protecting people is normally a better deal than attacking someone. The men feel more righteous. They feel more, vindicated, I suppose. The choice is yours, of course, William Solace. The Western Rebellion is its own entity. But I would be remiss if not to offer. Go ahead.
I would like to remind everyone at the table that once the forges are operational in some months, everyone here will be armed, but you will have to wait for the time for the forges.
The Barrel King will respond, I believe, not enough, this is an issue of manpower, not armaments.
Then I must apologize. I know little of their numbers. He will hand the conversation back to the table.
Okay. Fairly Encircled takes a step back while the deliberations continue. Time for me to make a roll with the Brass Baron. Ooh, boy.
Buddy boy, calm down.
Yeah, he can't possibly even compete with that.
Go
ahead.
Can I marshal check his positioning of the... Because we're going to make circles at the focus point ley lines, correct?
Yeah.
Can I marshal check the martial prowess of his locations, of if he had men with the druids? How... Because he's going to have a group almost in all directions, northwest, east, and south.
How vital would their positioning be on the map?
Of whose positioning?
The Barrow
The
Kings.
groves being made.
Oh, yeah. Breathbearing, sorry.
And the Brass Baron putting men on said positions.
I guess I'm not getting what you're asking. What are you asking?
The advantage of having his men spread out like that. Would it be more information connection?
What does he actually get out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make a martial check for that. I understand your question now. Okay, so this is a multifactorial kind of situation. Most notably, the big part of it here is that the Brass Baron spreading his men out in such a way, as he just stated, gives his men something to do because he has thousands of men in reserve, many of which are mercenaries, and mercenaries with money and nothing to do can cause a lot of problems. And so, what most likely is going on, based off of your outlook, is that the Brass Baron sees an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. One of which is to give his idle men something to do, and second, to ensure his presence is maintained wherever these ley lines are built. That these groves are built. For these groves deal directly with the ley line, and since you have provided the information about them and how they work, ley line control is a direct military benefit. Not only does it help procedurally dealing with the use of exposure and sorcerers, but it also means that it is a potential source of even greater power later. And having his men there means that he will have to be wheeled and dealed. It essentially keeps him at the table because the threat, even if he would never actually do it, the threat of him taking the groves once they're built by force is there if the majority of his men are the ones protecting them.
So he's basically threatening a monopoly.
Sort of.
Yes. Everything he is doing is to further his cause, but he's also furthering the causes of others at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't assigned the mercenaries in Saphira, have we?
No, you have not.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have much in the means of forces because we didn't put any concentration into that. No, I don't think we have much to do in this. Or anyone else anything to say on this?
Oh.
So you do not wish to say anything?
Mm-mm.
We don't know the numbers of. Sorry, we don't know the numbers of the mercenaries in Saphira, do we? Besides, there's just 3 major factions, and one of them is the logistics.
Well, 3 of them are major guilds, right? So they have probably within the thousands. Certainly not as many as the Brass Baron, but also not in a nondescript, non-relevant number either.
I think we go half-half. At least.
Okay, so it seems as if the discussions are leading to the point that the everyone present seem to be convinced by the Brass Baron's words, unless the Cordelian Circle will interject.
Mm-mm.
Abstain.
Okay. William Solace will then nod. I suppose I'm in a situation where I can't really turn you down. It's true that what with those creatures from the Broken Brothers, as well as...
I think I have to eject here. As
William Solace will look up to Chrome.
As much as the Brass Baron can afford his men to do such. From my recollections, I believe you have the most men in reserve ready. We need, if you could spare half, and the other half on standby just in case an emergency needs to be called. And we could take a half of the, if you think it's so wise, High Tower, the mercenaries companies in Saphira to aid the garden.
Okay, make me a
Can I use a point of glory on this?
You sure can. Make me a persuasion check with advantage, with a glory modifier. Okay. As Chrome speaks, there was a sudden feeling of strength emanating outwards from him. He speaks of an insistence the Brass Baron's men not be used for half. As he looks upon the merchants from Saphira, you will see that Faustine's eyes shine brightly as he looks upon her. His words are simple, his prose perhaps even more so, but the aura that Chrome puts out, the Brass Baron carefully acknowledges as he looks towards Faustine's response. If you believe it to be appropriate, Veneth Tyr of the Carnelian Circle, then yes, as she looks over her shoulder to Grandmother Iron. Grandmother Iron is staring Chrome directly in the face. And perhaps for the first time, really revealing any emotion at all. Grandmother Iron will martial check Chrome.
Ooh.
I don't resist? Question mark.
You know in DBZ where they're checking each other out and it's totally not gay? It's all about the fight?
They're just sitting there powering up and they're like, yes.
Yeah, that's basically what just happened. Grandmother Iron will take a look at Chrome and will smile slightly. She will lean forward and whisper in Faustine Hightower's ear, who will also smile and say, "Well, I'm inclined to believe your words, Veneth Tyr. Brass Baron, Saphira shall take hold of the protections and escort of the Druids. The circles will be restored by those that have their loyalty towards themselves." And then she will look over at the Brass Baron, and perhaps not quite as ambitious. Coming closest to actually fully calling out the Brass Baron, and directly holding against him, you will see that there is a slight clench to the Brass Baron's jaw. He begins to state, "Surely that you will see that it is better to take on a reliable choice. My men are most capable. You'll see that the Druids are well protected." Grandmother Iron will then speak. "Are you insinuating that your men are better than mine, Brass Baron?" "That they are more reliable than the Iron Cross? The Brass Baron will look at Grandmother Iron as she places her hand upon her hip and stares down the young man. The Brass Baron will then slowly back away and will simply state, "We cannot let fear rule us, but if you insist, I acquiesce. Let the South handle the protection of the Woods. I shall marshal my men in preparations for our enemy at the center." Faustine Hightower will nod. "So be it. The Saphiran mercenaries shall keep you safe, William Solace, while your men rebuild the circles." William Solace will nod. "I thank you, as much as I can. We'll do what we can to see that the ley lines be healed, and the sickness restored." Well, that was a huge thing. Give me a second. Probably the best use of glory I've seen so far. Good job, Chrome.
I didn't like the idea of him monopolizing the whole world. I really
Chrome's
didn't.
carrying today. I love it. Very good.
I just imagined you the entire time as just Terry Crews pumping your pecs.
Look, big muscles. All my brains are in my muscles.
Mm.
Don't look at me like that, Gruul.
What?
I know you like brains.
Don't look at his brains, Mr. Gruul. Don't do it.
You looking at my skull, boy? You like what you see in here?
So clean and hairless.
Oh my god. So clean and hairless. Oh. So simple. So smooth. Ugh. Okay. Anyway. Sorry, I knocked the lamp off my table.
Just looking at feet.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Luke?
Feet?
And I was just looking at her feet.
Nice.
Hold on, I'm taking a bunch of notes.
Well, it seems like we've pissed on the Brass Baron's Cheerios.
Oh.
Now, that was
Sweet
great,
lamb.
man. You guys did great there. That was crazy good. What a use of glory.
Oh, yeah.
And now Chrome's got his Jiren looking at him. His fucking
I'm already taken.
Son
was.
Chromu. Son Chromu, you stand before me. Alright. So, the meeting continues. Faustine Hightower will state, "It seems we have allocated our objectives. Now we must turn our attention towards this Agamemnon, the presence of his cult, and indeed the gathering of the forces of the center. We must turn our attention to these threats to ensure that they shall be taken care of. We know not exactly when our enemy will attack, but from what our scouts, and indeed," he will gesture towards Laza, "what the Carnelian Circle has provided, is indicative that it is only a matter of time." She'll then look around the table. "This is perhaps where things will be the most difficult, ladies and gentlemen. Our prejudices must be put aside, for if what we have detected is to be true, demonic activity has been increasing threefold. Tribes of orcs are being lost in the mountains, wiped out from the surge of demon kind. Their numbers growing, their strength rising. Therefore, we must decide a plan of attack. Where shall we face them? Surely placing ourselves within the mountains will only see to get to their advantage. We must find some way to attract them, to force them through a point of our choosing. Any suggestions?" Okay. Before I go into the NPC suggestions, does the Carnelian Circle want to say anything for that?
I'm guessing that Demon's Deep will be offered up as a strong wall to put their backs against. But that's just like, something that should happen. I don't know if we should ensure it.
Well, so you actually mentioned Demon's Deep. So to be clear, that's one of the methods of attacking the demons, is the Shadow Bridge.
Okay.
So
We want.
how can I
yeah.
put it? How can I explain this? So the demons are currently surging. Like there's just a lot of them. Orcish tribes are being wiped out in the mountains. Eventually, they're going to burst forward like a overloaded dam. Right?
Yeah.
What Faustine is suggesting is where we shall place the hole to face them, because if we don't, they'll spread everywhere, which is like the worst thing that could happen.
And if we were to go to the Shadow Bridge, wouldn't that also take us to a lot of the underground dwarven locations?
Well, that'll give you access to the Astral Dark, but I think you guys have. I don't believe this party's actually looked into that.
No, we have not.
No, we have
Yeah,
not.
So
I think we have piece of information of what's been dropped from Emberdane.
well, yeah, but you haven't like went there and like
Yeah.
checked it out and all that. So
Yeah, I think I'm pro Demon Waste because we don't want to bait Matheria. We want as little resistance in that area as possible. And pulling it away down to Demons, Demons Deep, would actually pull them away from a lot of those forces as well. So I think right now, I think that's the strongest point that we have.
So a diversion at the Shadow Bridge in order to take pressure off the Demon Waste to increase the likelihood of John Carter's mission.
That sounds great to me.
Sounds good to me. All right, go ahead and present it in character.
I would like to suggest the Shadow Bridge within Demon's Deep. We could push forward, giving us access to deeper within the demon wastes through the ancient dwarven tunnels, as well as it should pull many of the demon forces away from the north. And John Carpenter's own expedition.
Carter.
For his John Carter, sorry. I like him. Shit, I'm getting hit with the thing in my head. 2 seconds. Allowing us to kill two birds with one stone.
Okay. The rest of the NPCs will look around at each other. The Barrel King will state, "It is a risky venture. The Shadow Bridge is vast, and despite its name, depicted of many passages. True, there is one large bridge, but it is a multifaceted point. Many of the bridges have been closed by the dwarves from last I've heard. Perhaps there's difference now," as he turns his gaze towards Sir Emberdane, who will then nod. "That should be right there, Barrow King. It's true. Many of the bridges have been closed. The Shadow Bridge still be a remnant of what it was. But if the Thane of War were to receive the appropriate reinforcements, well, we could open the rest of the bridges, sound the chimes, call the demons to us. Perhaps even throw some bait out for them. We have our ways. But to propose such a thing as to awaken the full strength of the Shadow Bridge means it comes with us that the tide will come, and it will come fast and hard. We'll have to make sure we're ready before we do that. I have been granted permission to speak for the Thane of War whilst I am here. So, as he looks towards those present, whom would like to send their reinforcements to Demon's Deep should we take this plan?" William Solace will raise his hand. Just real quick, are we sure this is the best course of action? I don't mean to be pushing anyone around or nothing, but the dwarves been fighting down there for a long time. What of the Wall of Matheria? Isn't that blasted thing one of the selling points of the whole church's faith? Is it still working? John Carter will nod. Of course it is. But I believe what the suggestion is that the demons have never pierced the wall. They may simply go around it into the mountains. There must be a perceived level of weakness. His eyes will look over to Sir Emberdane. The Shadow Bridge has been more vulnerable than the wall. Sir Emberdane will kind of bristle his beard at that, but will say nothing. Faustine Hightower will state, "We have lost much blood of the honorable tribes of the orcs. Many of them are wiped out. I believe that it is imperative that we create this bottleneck, as you state, not just for its military value, but so that the orcs may be given reprieve." The Brass Baron will lean forward, a smile dancing on his lips. "Let me ask everyone here present. If you do not want my troops to guard the ley lines, I presume that you want them to face the demons. A rather large piece of my troops could make the journey to Demon's Deep." His eyes will look around slowly, before ending on Sir Emberdane. "I presume that the Thane of Trade would be open to my involvement." Sir Emberdane will kind of clutch the top of the table slightly, and then he will nod. "Yes. I believe
Brass
that they
Baron,
would."
let us not forget that you are two to make an excursion to the Labyrinth and the Demon's Deep. This would too benefit you, would it be your man or not.
He will respond with, "Agreed, Sewigg of the Carnelian Circle. Hence as to why I am offering my troops there instead."
We'll just look at Sir Emberdane.
Emberdane will then state, "If it is the will of those present, that we reawaken the Shadow Bridge to distract demon kind, funneling them through there, increasing the chances of John Carter's mission as well as our operations in that area, I do not see the lack of value of such a plan." On behalf of Demon's Deep, I would be willing to accept such an agreement, provided that the details are to term. The Brass Baron will state, of course. The fairest of terms. I know that you might be hesitant to answer, but it is imperative. How many does the Shadow Bridge have guarding it? Sir Emberdane will sort of grip the table again. "Not enough, sir. Not enough at all. We could take as many as you were willing to offer," he says honestly. The Brass Baron will stroke the bottom part of his chin, pondering. Very well. I shall ensure a contingent of 20,000 shall be sent to Demon's Deep. There are people at the table that kind of look around at each other. 20,000 men is a lot of men.
Ooh.
Sir Emberdane will say, "You truly have so many?" The Brass Baron will nod. "It is a substantial amount of my forces, but I believe it is for a worthy cause. I will only be able to send them, of course, once Mornhal has been resolved," as he looks back over to Carter. Insight checks, guys.
Gotcha.
Hang on. There we go. Oh.
You will notice that John Carter is even more pressured than he was before. Seems the political pressure of Captain Carter to essentially help the Brass Baron end the fight in Mornhal has just been increasing this entire time. For now, several are contingent upon him doing so.
Yep. But we also knew that we wouldn't get the full might of the Baron without Mornhal being taken, so...
I'm just telling you what you see.
Yes.
So, with that, Remember Dane will say, unless the Carnelian Circle interjects, Remember Dane will say, "Very well. We accept your offer. I shall send word to the Thane. When can we expect your men?" He will nod and will look over and will hand a piece of parchment to his second, who will salute and then make her way out to the men. "Currently en route, sir. You can expect them within a fortnight or so, providing the weather is commendable." Okay, I have to make a note of that. Hold on.
Well, we've made the Baron angry twice, and then only let everything else fall into his hands. You know, we're doing all right so far.
Can't win them all.
Dude, we have to try. But this guy, he's just him. He's him. Like, we can't even stop him.
We've stopped him a couple times. Chrome puffed up his chest successfully.
I mean, Chrome put his glory on the table. That was sick, dude.
Mm-hmm.
My lifeline.
Okay. Well, as the party continues, or excuse me, as the scene continues, Faustine Hightower will look around. "Well then, it seems we've made great progress. I dare say that many of us will have to speak to our subordinates or our superiors and colleagues before deliberations can continue further into details. Is there anything else that we should discuss before we adjourn for the day?" He looks around. Does the Carnelian Circle have anything they wish to bring forward?
I'm content.
Yeah, we haven't brought up Vault, so they don't know about that.
Is this an above board?
Oh yeah, I probably should. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about
Is
that.
it?
Yeah. Do you want to bring up anything? Yeah.
I'm not gonna fucking mention this, but one thing that is, I think, kind of a key piece of information for something like this is Babylon told us that there was a party of his that was working against Agamemnon within his ranks, and I think that there's potential there for follow-up on sort of tackling the Agamemnon issue, because I think that's kind of the weakest link out of this triple-pronged approach.
I mean, we already told the Free Cities about the Advanti Isles and how there's a direct connection to the ancients there. Telling them, hi, by the way, we talked to demons, and he told us about demons that are working with the demons that are actually not working with the demons, and they're actually cool demons that you can talk to.
I mean, bringing that up is up to you, but that's kind of one key piece of information, I think, on the political landscape that was missing. I don't know if that's...
that has not been made public yet. That is not
no, that is 100% not public.
We didn't mention that we
but it's
talked
still
to
a
a
good
demon
point.
god, did we?
Luke does bring up a good point. You have an inside. Well, not that you have an inside man, but
We know an inside man.
yeah, there are traitors amongst him. Is an important piece of information.
Yes. All right. Does anyone else specific want to bring that up? Otherwise, I will.
Go ahead.
Right.
I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just suggesting that that is a piece of information that could be brought up.
Option on the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah, spark joy. I'm not
For sure.
What are we doing on the corruption of the land? Is anyone like taking care of that?
That's the druids for the most part.
Oh,
The ley lines. That's the corruption.
No, I'm not talking about the ley lines.
since we're on the above board thing, this
Which
was actually something I...
Which corruption are you talking about specifically?
The sickness.
I'm talking about the Broken
Aberration.
Brothers
Broken
and
Brothers? Yeah.
and the thing that happened near the Free Cities in Pride Lake.
Oh yeah, we actually do have to bring up the Broken Brothers.
Yes, that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
Sure. Why don't you bring up Broken Brothers then first?
All right.
With the above board thing real quick, that reminded me, had we... I thought this was something we had talked about at one point, but weren't we going to try and get the Practitioners Guild to try and help us with some of the sickness?
We were going to try and contact them, but they're not here.
That's still something we can mention to the group that's here.
Yeah, we can talk to Carter, because Carter was in the city, and bring it up to him about if he would be able to get us in connections with the Practitioner Guild within Edgington. Before he leaves.
If Sewigg brings up the sickness, I'll bring up the practitioners.
Yeah, I
go
can
ahead.
bring up the sickness.
Go for it.
I would like to bring up the deliberations upon the illness going on in the Pride Lake and the Broken Brothers. What of that?
The Brass Baron will speak. The aberrations from the Broken Brothers have been harrying my men for some time. I wanted no war against the West, and yet this sickness in my side has slowed much of my progress. I have hired individuals to take it out, to explore it, to deal with it, but it would seem that, unfortunately, it is more potent than I anticipated. I would very much like assistance with it, if anyone would offer. Insight check.
Nothing.
Ooh, there we go.
All right, you will
I
see
can
that you will see that the Brass Baron is more concerned about this than he is letting on.
Much of this is sickness, disease, taking over a host. Yes? Have you
It is
been
more
able to
than
get...
that. The sickness permeates the land, drains of it its color. It's difficult to walk through it.
We are happy to assist in any research. I've already been able to make a few key pieces that might assist your people in at least battling it. There seems to be a relationship between blood, or more specifically the spinal fluid, of all of these creatures, and their usage or transformations.
Yeah.
I, personally, will be more than happy to assist you and your people in understanding these creatures. As for fighting forces, you might have to ask at the table.
Well, when it comes to blood or disease or anything, Nenanoth, wouldn't we be able to possibly get like the practitioners in on that? They're obsessed with curing diseases and blood and all that stuff.
Elrond will speak up. He steps up next. William Solace. If it be pleasing the council, I'd like to say something. William Solace will gesture towards him. My name's Elrond Truefire. As someone who has dealt directly with these broken brothers and their court of curses, I can tell you this much. The danger is more than the Brass Baron's been making true. Not that I'm saying you're lying, sir, but it's been doing more than harassing his men. Therefore, I would like to offer something. I have a device that can allow a small group of people travel towards the Broken Brothers, to where this sickness can be found. It can traverse the cursed lands around it. Insight check. You will see the Brass Baron is caught off guard by this. And for a brief, fleeting moment, there is a slight confusion, and perhaps even the smallest tinge of fear, before his face reverts back to its normal, stoic smile. Elrond continues.
Tell us more about this, yes.
Elrond continues. This device was entrusted to me from some friends of mine. I am willing to allow its use towards the Brass Baron's twinned campaign. Take care of this issue. However, I have a condition. The people of the Broken Oaks are my people. And for a long time, we lived just fine without kings, monarchs, barons, marquises, or anybody with a fancy title. I offer this in this moment of need, and my condition is this. You are to leave the crossroads and give back that which the Metherians took from me. The Brass Baron will look at Elrond and say, I have taken nothing from you. I have only provided you with, you know exactly what you're doing, son. And you've done it well. But no more. The people of the Broken Oaks will have no master, whether that master be one of the chain or the coin. They can continue to work for you if they'd like, but not because they have to. Okay, here we go. Do gotta do.
Both the corruption from the Free Cities and the Broken Oaks are similar.
All right, I have a. Oh, go. You finish up what you're saying, but then I have some.
In nature, correct?
Yes.
As in Depthar? Question mark.
All right, I would like to give Elrond my legacy for a natural 20.
What?
Okay, hold that thought. To answer your question, you don't really have... I mean, I can't answer that. You're going to have to decide if you think those are directly tied or not. So you're using your legacy?
Yep, that I got from the edge. I would like to give Elrond a natural 20 on this roll.
So be it. Elrond, at first, looks as if his words, though true felt and having the Brass Baron at a disadvantage, do not really hold that much sway. But then, A fire seems to light in Elrond's eyes as he continues, inspiration filling him. You think that just because people haven't told you that what you're doing is wrong, that it's not wrong. Your ambitions are as naked and plain to me, son, as all the men who've come before you. Some of them members of your family. I've been around a long time. And as it just so happens, I fought alongside your father's father. Dolus Laton was a fine man. And I think that he might be a bit disapproving of watching how you've been spending his legacy money, right? You can't speak about my family. I can do what I want, son. You don't own me. You don't own anyone. Just because you pay somebody something doesn't mean you own them. The people of the Broken Oaks will have no more masters. I offer this to you. Use it, slay the Court of Curses, and free yourself for your campaigns. But you do it by leaving the Broken Oaks. The Brass Baron will be taken aback. As he looks around, he will see that the other world leaders are looking at him, and normally they would look upon him with a mixed feeling of awe, fear, and trepidation, but this time they look upon him as wolves of the great elk's injury moments before falling into the snow. A flash of orange light will appear in the Baron's eyes. His smile deepens. Very well. You shall have your inn, True Fire. And you shall have your guild. You shall have your crossroads. However, the contracts that these men have already signed with me, I expect you to honor. And indeed, if you do not, I shall expect a payment back in full. And should you fail to do so, I am afraid I will have no choice but to seize the asset's value that was owed to me. After all, it's only fair. You will see that Elrond kind of strokes his large mustache, and then he will state, "Fine. But they have a clause to end. Ain't nobody gonna be in service to you for an open-ended contract. If you're gonna keep to the contracts, you're gonna keep them to the way that we kept them. 3 months, maximum." The Brass Baron will look a bit peeved by that. He will then look around and see that he has failed to convince the rest of the council to side with him. Very well. 3 months. Elrond will nod. Will look to William Solace. "With your permission, sir, I'd like to make this deal." William will nod. Elrond will hand a strange object to the Brass Baron. "Here. Now go deal with the thorn in our sides." "I will, Elrond," he says through gritted teeth, as Elrond returns to his position behind William Solace. I gotta take some notes.
the urge to look upon objects being passed over the table.
Let's see here.
We can offer Elrond gold for blueprints of that object.
Well, at the moment,
Information.
it's not his anymore. Basically, I just made a deal, so now it's the Baron's.
But it was his. He made it, no?
He said it was given to him.
It was given to him. He didn't make it.
Yep.
Damn. No information. Where's Marlowe? We need him.
I'm humming on that.
Blast. We learned Magic Circle in like 2 levels. Like, fuck these people.
Did everybody see the orange flash in his eyes?
I definitely did. I was paying plenty attention.
I got shattered eyes. I see it.
No, that's just my OJ.
I was just drinking some OJ and you saw the reflection in his eye. Someone saying hello?
And that's such a big fucking deal. What just happened?
There's a reason I dropped that 20 there.
That was very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the item?
He did not show it on purpose. Okay.
If that's the end of that, there is another piece that I would like to put forward. One that I have little hope will pan out. Oh, Lurker, I can hear myself through you a little bit.
Wait, what?
We have been made aware that amongst the demons themselves, there are traitors. Those whom, as we have spoken before, serve their leader, creature known as Babylon. We believe he is working against, or at least in an attempt to control, Agamemnon. These are believed to be people that may be... people. These things are believed to be capable of being spoken to. Your approach to them is your own.
The Baron will look towards Nenanoth. A disapproving look upon his face. These things that you claim are not people. I hope you do not have such prejudices.
They are not human. They're...
And neither are we.
in many ways.
Interesting that you would have knowledge of such traitors. How did you come by this information?
He'll kind of look at the king for a moment. Clearly having rubbed him the wrong way.
I'm sorry, clearly having a what?
Sorry, I'm talking to myself a little bit. Let me think. During our times attempting to figure out Babylon, we have spoken to them. This Babylon. This foreign god.
You will see the Barrow King sort of shift his eyes around to the rest of the council. He'll shake his head slightly. I see. Well, how can we trust this foreign entity?
He is a creature bound to truth. An oath in its most... how should I say? Truest form. His word is not something that he simply can turn against. His word is himself. Any truth he gives is a truth that he is compelled to give, if he should promise to give it. Just his nature.
And you received such a promise?
I've received information from him, and I know it is true.
So be it. The energies that bind me operate the same. Lying is beneath those of us granted and expected of such power. Very well. But what to do with such information? Traitors they may be, that doesn't make them our allies.
No, and they should not be seen as such. Like any other demon, devil, or the such, they will use the information you have for their own gains. Your lives will mean little to them. But, like any other such, should you be able to make it their benefit, they may be able to assist or inform.
A voice will speak up behind, Faustine Hightower.
If it is mutual benefit that we are speaking of, I would like to offer my organization's hand. Perhaps they will find themselves more amenable to our hospitality.
I would see no issue should you go forth with this, but be aware, we are currently unaware where they might be, but suspect that they might be active.
Very well. If you are able to learn their location, please inform me at your earliest convenience. If not, I believe that certain avenues could be explored to locate them. Belch's eyes will quickly shift over to Laza, and then will shift back.
You will nod. But I will incite that look.
Go ahead.
I tried.
This dude just feels gross. He will take a step back, adjusting his hat. Faustine Hightower will then speak. Well then, productive. I believe that we have much to ruminate upon. We shall discuss details with our superiors, colleagues, and subordinates. We'll meet again to enact our plan and produce a timeline. I thank you all for your time. She will stand, everyone else will stand, she will give a bow, and everyone else will salute/bow respectively. Except the Barrow King, who nods, because he is king and... Alright! That will conclude this meeting and also this session. That was a meaty one, guys.
Very meaty.
Good lord.
Rock on, though. Very good.
That was so sick. Well done.
Woo!
Well fucking done, everyone.
Man.
Oh,
That
man.
was such a good social chat session, man.
There was some
I love seeing people.
clutch rolls.
Yeah, I love seeing people actually fucking participate in the social, like, I guess, combat way of looking at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Chrome using his glory. Oh, good job, buddy.
Yeah, that was it.
Just going. Have you heard of me? I'm Veneth fucking Tyr.
Sit down.
I have heard of him. Legacy on Elrond stepping up to the Brass Baron.
So many good moments in this session,
Yeah,
honestly.
Eat some humble pie, fuck boy.
I knew your
I fought with
grandfather.
your father's father.
I fought with your grandfather, you fuck.
He'd be ashamed of what you are.
How can we trust Babylon? Okay, so he's a guy who tells the truth, right? But like really convincingly.
Yeah.
He says he's the god of truth. Oh, no, that's it.
He does communication on a whole nother level.
In like the biggest cities. Alright.
I'm
game,
just
guys.
a rat in the cage.
I'm just a rat in the cage.
Yeah. Couple of memes.
All right, let's see what we got. You said we got memes? Where
Yeah,
are the memes? 2 memes.
I brought you some memes.
Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage.
Never be free of cities and communication.
Say something
Bro.
goofy one time.
Bro, this actually happened, by the way. So, guys, what are we doing in the back room? I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Where's the plastic? It's gonna be a death battle. Yeah. Actually, you should replace the Brass Baron with fucking Chrome, dude. She was giving.
Did she just martial check me of my intuition, or?
No, she martial checked you.
Ah,
You threw your glory on the table, dude. You went Super Saiyan in front of her, like.
She's like, all right.
you have
It's
my
over
attention.
9,000.
You have my attention, sir. Who's that Chrome guy, Chi-Chi? Is he strong? Alrighty. Good stuff, guys. Good games. Good sesh. Thanks for watching and thanks for supporting the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.